Today's business terrain is complex, but managing your business risks doesn't have to be. Cover Buddies is Malaysia's preferred insurance provider. Get that peace of mind knowing that our consultants can help you source and manage your insurance portfolio. For more information, visit our website at www.coverbuddies.com.
Okay, and in today's video, we shall be talking about the top 10 misconceptions about insurance. And these misconceptions I'm going to be talking about are relevant to both casualty insurance, also known as general insurance here in Malaysia, and also your health and life insurance, okay? I'm going to mix it up a little bit. These are some of the things that I've seen over the years and I've experienced over the years. And I thought maybe I would highlight some of these things so that you guys are aware of it and hopefully do not also make some of these mistakes, okay? Now, misconception number one is that insurers will accept any risk, right? Where we hear it sometimes where these applicants, they say, oh, don't worry about it. Any insurance company, they're going to cover you anyway. They'll accept anything. And that is actually not true. So just to highlight this, especially general insurers, a lot of them specialize in different areas. Some are big liability players. Some of them really focus on auto insurance. Some are very focused on health insurance and so forth. So it really depends. Each company has their own strategy and has their own approach and also has their own preference. So never make that exception because just to give you some steer, for casualty insurance, there's about 20 odd companies here in Malaysia. For basically the life insurance and life/medical insurance companies, there are just under 20. All right, I think if I'm not wrong, maybe about 15 in that neighborhood. So you have to know exactly what you're looking for and sometimes also be familiar with which insurer or which provider offers what or what they specialize in. Okay, so they do not accept any risk whatsoever. You'd be surprised. Now, the other misconception, all insurance products are the same. And I have heard this multiple times over the years where, sometimes we see applicants, they think it's all the same and they just go for the cheapest one. Big mistake. Some have deal sweeteners, some don't. Now, I give an example. Maybe last couple of years, a lot of these auto insurance, they never had, like, for example, flood damage. So in other words, if your car was caught in the flood and basically it's a mess, the engine's jammed, the upholstery is gone and so forth, the insurance does not cover it. But of course, over time, there were many incidents and also the demand went up and certain providers started offering that as a deal sweetener. Then, of course, more providers started offering it as standard, but never assume that it is standard, that it's all the same. Look out for it. Another example is that some people think that for health insurance, they definitely cover outpatient cancer care. Not all, okay? There are some group plans that do not offer that. Okay, number 7 is that insurers all offer the same terms. That is not true. Each provider will have different terms. Okay, what sort of terms are we looking at? One of the things I can think of is basically your deductible. What are deductibles? Deductibles are basically, for example, an excess, where it's basically the first X number of ringgit that you pay when you get admitted or basically when you file a claim for your casualty insurance. Example, as far as medical insurance is concerned, in the event there is an admission where you need to be admitted to hospital, they may have an excess of 300 ringgit or 1,000 ringgit or 500 ringgit, whatever. Okay, so those terms are not the same. So you'd be surprised. Another thing is that certain liability coverages for casualty insurance, they would have an excess of anywhere 5,000, 10,000, some even 100,000. What does that mean? That means any claim below that is out of pocket. That means any bigger claim, like let's say if your deductible is, let's say, 100,000, the first 100,000 it's out of your pocket. That means if the claim goes up to, let's say, 500,000, you actually have to pay that 100,000. The insurer pays the other 400,000. So some certain claims are not worth going after or rather claiming insurance. So they're not all the same. Look out for what you're after and be aware of things like that. Insurers will try to avoid paying me. Okay, I've heard that all the time. We have cases where, it's a stigma, right? Let's face it, there's a stigma out there that will think, oh no, the insurer will not pay me, they're trying to worm themselves out of it and so forth. Now, you have to understand, these products basically, or insurance is basically an agreement. So this is a very important thing, and I've seen many people get caught, and of course, not their own fault. You need to be very, very sure. You need to know exactly what you're being covered for and what you're not covered for. If not sure, ask, right? Ask a trained professional, ask an agency, ask an agent, ask someone that knows a thing or two about the product. What's the next one? The next one is insurance will pay for everything. I think this is probably my favorite pet peeve because I think over the years I have met many people where they will come up and say, oh, doesn't it pay for everything? So where do I start with this one? As far as medical insurance is concerned, your insurance does not pay for everything. A rule of thumb is that if it's of any incident where you willingly put yourself at risk, what is willingly put yourself at risk? That means you do crazy things that people don't usually do. Example, skydiving. Every day people don't wake up one day and say, you know what, I'll do skydiving. And if you do skydiving and you get into an injury, the insurance, your medical insurance may not necessarily pay. Same goes for bungee jumping. Same goes for, I don't know, anything like whitewater rafting and so forth. Even certain coverages do not involve anything where you go diving and with breathing apparatus, right? Or breathing apparatus, depends how you want to pronounce it. So you need to be aware it does not cover for everything. But the rule of thumb is that if you willingly put yourself at risk, or you willingly or you knowingly put yourself at risk, your medical insurance will not cover you. So that even involves being drunk driving. Drunk driving is not covered, right? Being in a bar and getting into a brawl and all that, that's contentious. That may not be covered also. Let's talk about casualty insurance side, where what are the things they don't cover? Very simple, things that involve fraud, manipulation, this act of dishonesty, stuff like that, they will not cover. So these are things that you need to be aware of. Next thing, you do not need an agent or an agency. Do it yourself. Why let the agency or the agent make the profit? Just do it yourself. Walk to the insurer direct and just get it. You can. A lot of people do that. A lot of people also, it works for them. And it depends on the product. It depends how familiar you are. But over the years, what I have seen is that people make that mistake where they thought that that particular cover covers them, extends that the coverage is there, but it was not there. Because to me, I think I would always seek a professional to actually help me out, right? I mean, it's like saying, why not build your house, your own house, right? I mean, it's the same, right? Can you do it? Possibly. Why not paint your own room? Can you do it? Possibly. Will it take a bit longer? Yeah. Would you save some money? Most probably. But would you do as good a job? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. And to me, I find that is something that I would rather just get a professional to help me out. So this is something that I've seen. It's a bit of a misconception that you can do yourself. It is also a bit of a mistake, I feel, that when you try to do certain things yourself, it's like trying to pull out your own teeth. Okay, what is the next one? Your company insurance is the same as your personal insurance. Okay, I have seen this many, many times, and it's painful, where people approach us and they come up to us, I think in their 60s and so forth, and they try to purchase insurance, but because of their age, basically the premium shoots up, number one. Number two is that they have an existing condition, so the insurer does not accept the application. And when I ask them, okay, what happened? Why didn't you get this earlier when it was so much cheaper and so forth? And it's all over, it's available everywhere. And they say, oh yeah, you know what? I thought my company would cover me indefinitely. And this is a big mistake. You always get this sort of stuff when you're younger and when you have no conditions. And also more importantly, when you talk about like your company insurance program, right, there is a limitation to it. Company extends coverage. However, I think it ends at 70 and so forth. Most of these coverages now, they extend all the way to 100 years old. So there is a difference. And put it this way, you would probably need the coverage most when you are 70 and probably not working. And that's when the company insurance plan ends. I mean, the irony of it is just painful, right? I mean, I see this all the time. People come up to us and, you know what? Don't make that mistake. Okay, the next one, my spouse partner or my spouse / partner company insurance is good enough. Well, this is just an extension, isn't it? I mean, think about it, where, they thought that the spouse company's health program already included them. So I say, you know what? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I don't need it. Let's not waste money and so forth. Again, then they get stuck here, where if the spouse gets, let's say, retrenched, then they lose that coverage. Isn't that like the most precarious condition or a situation that you can put yourself in, or that you willingly put yourself in? Because you know very well that like jobs these days, they are not as stable. They're not that stable, right? They can be very fluid. Today you have a job, tomorrow you may lose your job. And the entire family is at risk where they're not covered. And you're lucky if everyone's still young and with no pre-existing conditions. But can you imagine if there are pre-existing conditions and so forth, and the next thing you know, the premium shoots up? So again, I feel that these are, I wouldn't say mistakes, but back of your mind, a lot of people know about it, but they just not think about it just yet. But these are really, really important things that you need to consider. Okay, number two, we are closing in at number one. Number two is that another misconception is that people think that, oh, my medical insurance will not cover me when I am overseas. Well, yes and no. In the event of, let's say, an accident, if you have an existing medical coverage, and let's say in Malaysia, okay, I'm talking about Malaysian program. In most instances, it is a pay and claim arrangement. What is a pay and claim arrangement? A pay and claim arrangement is that basically you pay for it first, and what happens is that you get all the bills and all that, and you come back and you can actually request that your insurer reimburse you. That is workable. Right, so not all health programs where it's only limited to Malaysia and so forth, but as long as, of course, there are conditions like cannot be longer than 90 days. You can't be out of the country longer than 90 days. And basically, as long as you present all the right documents and all the receipts and so forth, usually most Malaysian insurance programs will actually reimburse you to a certain extent. What is the number one pet peeve, biggest misconception that we have heard over the years, over and over and over again? Can you guess? The number one biggest insurance misconception that we hear all the time are from people where they are taking loans, especially house loans. And what happens is that they are told, or they think, or they've heard that you have to buy insurance in order to apply for a house loan. That is not true, okay? That is absolutely not true. And I don't want to get into the details of that, but that is not a requirement. Even myself, actually, when I purchased my first house, I was actually requested, or actually someone told me about it, that you actually have to get it. Now, I want to let you know, it is not a requirement. You do not have to do it. There are other ways to do it. Talk to your agency about it. Talk to your agent, talk to any professional about it. There are ways to do it, and maybe we'll cover it in the next episode. So there you go. Top 10 misconceptions in the insurance industry or about insurance. See you in the next episode.
If you enjoyed our show today, be sure to subscribe and follow us on social media, or sign up for our newsletter through our website at www.coverbuddies.com so you'll get all the good stuff sent directly to you.